Welcome to the Really Big BBQ Central Show. A show that talks about barbecue and grilling, originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening. So happy to have you. There appears to be some kind of an issue with the YouTube stream, at least on my end. I'm trying to go in so I can pull the chat up, and that doesn't seem to be working, so I apologize. Oh, there it is. All right, very good. I must have had to have started and stopped and then restarted and stopped again. Whatever the case is, chat roll is now back up, and YouTube is now properly functioning. Maybe it was working for you right off in the beginning. Good for you. It wasn't for me. And here we go. I am your program host, Greg Rempe, as I had mentioned. If you want to take part in the show this evening, here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, it is the second Tuesday of the month, that being August. And you know what that means. It's going to be a visit for the 9:14 and 9:35 segments with none other than the creator of the most heavily trafficked barbecue and grilling website on the face of the earth. And yes, he does have the statistics to prove it in case you want to get down in a street fight. It is Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. And we'll be talking about the BBQ Star thing. We will be talking about BBQ Brawl. We'll be answering some of your Facebook questions. Lots of stuff to get to with Meathead as normal. That will bring a close to the first hour, and then we will move to the second hour of the show. And we have a first-timer and a now what appears to be semi-recurring guest in the 1014 section of the show. I will be joined by somebody that is moving into his 31st year of barbecue restaurateurship, whatever. Have you ever heard of a place called Dinosaur Bar-B-Que, especially big out there in, I guess, what I would call upstate New York area, or the southern tier / western tier, depending on what portion of New York you're on? Buffalo comes to mind. Crapchester comes to mind. Syracuse, Albany, just to name a few. If you're talking about barbecue there, you're definitely talking about Dinosaur Bar-B-Que. And I'm talking with John Stage at 1014 this evening. Very excited to talk with him. And then closing it out tonight, she gave me the exclusive a couple months ago when we announced the Barbecue Hall of Fame members for the 2019 American Royal Barbecue Hall of Fame, and she will be rejoining me at 10:35 this evening to talk about the 2019 American Royal, which is coming up in weeks. So if you are on the fence on competing, we might be able to entice you to get off that fence and go ahead and compete. We'll be talking about some other things as well. So that's what you have this evening. If you're not following me socially, get on it at BBQ Central Show on the Instagram and the Twitter / BBQ Central Show on Facebook. There's a video feed there as well. All right, laid it out for you. Rarely do I get one of these, but we got one tonight. In-studio guest, and it's Hunter Saunders, barbecue legend. Hey, Hunter.
Yo, what's up?
Maybe not barbecue. All right, but let's call you in transit.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
I'm in transit.
I have to be honest.
Ladies.
I'm looking at you. Yeah. Ladies who's single and ready to mingle. So I'm having like a huge deja vu / I'm old moment because I look at a almost 21-year-old Hunter Saunders, and it harkens me the way you look, the mannerisms, the way you talk. I mean, there isn't 1% of you that doesn't scream Seth Sanders, and nobody knows who that is except me and your mom and, your brothers.
I know him, yeah.
But to the barbecue community, Seth Saunders is just the name that might as well be mentioned like, Tom Thumb's Blues.
Exactly.
But I am looking at the freaking spitting image of Seth Saunders like 20 years ago or 23 years ago, however old we are anymore. I mean, I just turned 45.
Yeah, you're getting
2
old,
weeks
so you
ago.
probably can't remember.
I know. It quickly it evaporates. But I mean, just the fact that I sit here and I look and I'm like, that's Seth, but it's not Seth. It's Hunter is absolutely incredible to me. So here you are. I get a message from your dad, like, 10, 11 o'clock this morning saying, hey, can Hunter crash at your house? And I'm like, I mean, where could he be? Where were you?
Yeah, I was in New Jersey doing summer sales, being hated by the communities, knocking
Summer
doors.
sales. All right. I thought you were saying summer sail like on the ocean.
Oh, that would be even better.
Summer sales. I got it. So you were doing door-to-door operations.
Exactly, for pest control.
Wow. What do we want to name the company?
No.
Okay. So why, like, were you able to get off today and, like, you're making the trek back, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so what happened is I got a concussion on the job because I'm a private contractor for this specific company. They can't offer works comp, so I'm sitting here spending money, paying rent with no compensation, right? And so I just wanted to skedaddle because I knew I wasn't going to knock before the Friday, which was my release date.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to go. They said, no, no, no. And I said, yes, yes, yes. Basically, I ended up telling my supervisor I need to leave. He's like, well, we're going to take your money then. And I said, no, you're not. And
fisticuffs ensue, gunshots fire, and
Yeah.
now you're beating it back west.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
With a concussion, but
Thanks for your summer sales. Here's
Exactly.
a concussion. Beat
yeah,
it.
this is what you will or will not remember.
Wow.
So,
Unbelievable.
yeah, well, I learned a lot.
All right, so we're out of work. So you're an employable youth.
yes,
May or may not be looking for a girlfriend, trying to cash in all bets here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city.
there we go.
And you're literally leaving at 4 a.m.
Yeah, well, I have a friend out in Chicago, and so I want to go have lunch with them at a decent time. So,
Yeah.
6 hours, 30 minutes or so. That should leave me enough time to get there about 12 if I need to take a nap.
Because
And,
remember, you gain an hour going back.
yeah, and so that's going to be another advantage. So maybe a 3-hour nap. That sounds good to me.
Yeah. Wow. So, and then ultimately, though, you're making your way back to where?
I'm going back to Utah, Orem, Utah. Back to the fam.
Are you one of them Mormons?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. If anybody
Shout out
wants to
to
know
Mormons.
more,
Right.
Mormon.org.
Right. Well, I may or may not. I mean, I hate to be a religional racist and say that I may be having another Mormon on is it next week maybe?
Hey,
But
there we
there's
go.
Susie Bullock is Hey Grill
Hey
Hey,
Grill.
and she's from Utah. So I don't just want to paint with a broad brush but I would. What are my odds? 80% that she's probably Mormon.
I guarantee it, just looking at her.
Guarantee it. Look at it. Now, this guy's a professional. Professional Mormon. Yeah. And you did the whole thing. Like, you graduated high school and you went and did the Mormon mission.
2 years,
like,
yep.
what does that entail, just like a high level for people that don't know?
Well, I was out in Idaho. Everybody knows about the church out there, the Mormon church. And so it was basically me being told what the church is or is not. And getting the door shut on me and everyone else was nice because they were members. And so it was either really bad encounter or really good encounter. But we tried to make those really bad into a little less bad each time we encounter these people. Trying to make a difference, try to serve them, go out and help them in the yard without them giving us permission, kind of soften their hearts. So just doing the Christian thing.
Yeah. Nice. And like, what was your close rate?
My close rate, as in,
If you saw 100 people in a day, could you get any to convert that day?
not a chance.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
No
Yeah,
wonder you got fired from the pesticides. Like, you can't even convert religion. What are you doing? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. If I can't
Dad's
do it,
hiding under the couch right now.
Exactly.
Your dad's close rate was 75% in New York City. I bet you didn't know that. That guy was a man. He's a Mormon conversion legend.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good thing I have some time still because, I mean, I left when I was 18. He left when he was 19, so it's a little bit of a difference.
All right, we got time. So Hunter Saunders is here in layover mode, hanging out. I was like, dude, lucky for you, it just so happens to be show night, so you can sit in as long as you want. The green room is out there, obviously, and you can
Absolutely.
couch out as you see fit, but as long as you want to hang out, I'm more than happy to have you. So you stand by, Mr. Hunter, and I will talk to the folks about BigPapaSmokers.com. That's right. The one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. Their curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Whether you're in the backyard, like me, or on the competition circuit, like Big Papa himself, Sterling Ball, or a number of others, they got something for you. 13 perfectly balanced sauces and spices. Actually, Hunter just had some sweet money, and he was completely addicted right off the bat. It's one of everybody's favorites. Of course, you can find them at BigPapaSmokers.com. If you want to improve the competition recipes, head on over to BigPapaSmokers.com and hook up with some of that Simply Marvelous barbecue rub known as the West Coast offense when you put Big Papa and Simply Marvelous together. They also own Granny's barbecue sauce, so if you're looking for a new go-to sauce that will please everybody, Granny's traditionally yet powerful flavors remind us why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. And don't forget about the cookers. Come on now. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, you want to check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa's the exclusive Mac dealer, and they offer special packages as well that nobody else can offer. If you're not a fan of those things, and by those things I mean pellet cookers, try the old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. And if you want some other cookers, he's got them. If you have an ugly drum in the backyard and you want a conversion kit to make it an ugly drum smoker, Big Papa will sell you one of the ones that he makes. It's great. If you're unsure, call them, please. 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop the website, BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. We are back with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Stick around. Be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher's Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils. All of Butcher Barbecue products have been tested on the competition circuit as well as in backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up right now. Always trust your butcher. Hunter, sit up for crying out loud.
Oh, I thought I was famous, and so I was texting all my friends because they were all like, wow, is that you?
That's
Absolutely.
You. That's right. All right. We race to the hotline and welcome in second Tuesday of the month guest and creator of the most heavily trafficked barbecue and grilling website ever.
What?
Meathead is on air. Hey, Meathead.
Hey, Greg. Hello, Centralites. How's the rock star of barbecue?
We are rocking and rolling. Meathead, say hello to your second biggest fan, Hunter Saunders from Utah. How about that? Look at this.
Try to stay awake now, boy.
Can't make any promises.
He's. I said, hey, Hunter, Meathead is on the show in the first hour, and he's like, hey, I know Meathead. You're posting about him all the time. He's a fan.
I am in Chicago, too, and you're on my way.
Well, yeah, that's right. He's going to be laying over for a quick lunch in the Windy City, believe it or not, tomorrow. He's leaving in Cleveland 4 a.m. in the morning. How about that? Crazy.
Anytime you leave Cleveland is good.
Oh, hey, Meathead, what are you talking about? I see you. All right, so Meathead is... Yeah, go ahead.
I just heard the commercial for Big Papa.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I endorse one of your advertisers?
All right.
I love Big Papa. I love his spice rubs.
Yes.
I got a Mac 2-Star on my deck that I do almost all my recipe development on because it's solid as a rock.
Yes.
Temperature-wise. And I love watching his videos. I steal all his recipes. He's a cool guy.
Really?
Except, when he bends over, I get blind from that bald.
Whoa, I know. He could do a little fur on top to take down the
I think
scalding.
he needs to put something up there.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Well, thank you
he's a
for
good
that.
Guy. Knows a lot about barbecue, and he's hot this year, I believe.
Oof, man.
I don't follow competitions very closely, but I believe he is right up on or near the top this year.
Well, I know in 2 of the 4 categories, he is sniffing the top if he's not there at the moment, and then I think
That's
in the
because he's usually sniffing somebody's bottom.
Yeah, there you go. You said it, not me, for crying out loud. But I believe, I don't know if he competed this past weekend, but prior to there, he had won 3 in a row, and also, I believe, 4 out of the last 5. Okay, let me do this again. 3 out of the last 4 were wins, and the 4th was a reserve, which is second place, Hunter, by the way.
He's a heck of a cook.
He is doing really well. And
really nice.
he's relegated to the West Coast, too. And the West Coast has been dropping competitions quite rapidly. There used to be
Is that right?
huge competitions out there. I think Dana Point used to be a huge one. There's a number of other ones that I'm not even going to attempt to try and recall by name. But so he's put in a pigeonhole, or he's put in behind the 8 ball to a certain degree, because, for him to really travel and get out where most of the competitions are, that's acting quite a bit of travel.
It raises an interesting question, which we might want to discuss tonight or another night.
All right.
But has barbecue peaked?
Competition-wise?
We've kind of nibbled around that subject, you and I, in the past.
Yeah.
It was really, really hot for a while. Or is it maybe just the competitions are peaking? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious.
I think at the moment, just my opinion as someone who has never competed nor has any interest in competing. By the way, Hunter, have you ever competed in barbecue competitions?
One time I saw how much food I could eat in the barbecue.
No, cooking, not eating. Come on. So
Close enough.
So I have not, but I would say from a show perspective, if you go back and look at my body of work, let's say the first 7 or 8 years of the show live, there was a lot of competition stuff. There was a lot of me interviewing pitmasters that had won X competition or Y competition, or digging in and doing the barbecue roundtables with the competitors. And then if you look at my last 5 years, or most recent 5 years, if it's a major competition that has taken place, like a Jack or an American Royal, which is coming up here in a few short weeks, or, something big, Memphis in May, for instance. But, there's no Sam's Club anymore, so we don't talk about that. I would say, from a show's perspective, the interest in competition barbecue has dropped quite a bit. And I think that has to do with the loss of the pitmaster factor. So we had pitmaster on television. A lot of people were inspired to go out and give it a try, and they jumped on the circuit. I think there were other things that happened in that phenomena that made it a quick pop-up in popularity, and that was, let's take a class. Let's get all the latest and greatest. But nobody actually took the time to learn how to cook it properly and get the tenderness game down first. Instead, they were chasing flavor profile games, and then they didn't really have success, or they weren't going to make the money that they thought they were going to make, and as quickly as they were into it, they were out of it. And
well, it's funny. You mentioned Barbecue Pitmasters, the TV show.
That's right.
I was interviewed today by Ray and Jeff on a radio station in Hartford, Connecticut, and one of those two guys was saying that's what got him into barbecue.
Yeah.
And I've heard others say that was a watershed moment, a pivotal event. All of a sudden, barbecue sprang to the fore. I know that around that time, my website took off.
Sure.
We're still growing, but not as much, not as fast. We've kind of plateaued a bit. There's a lot. I wonder if, there was a lot of barbecue restaurants opening, and I don't see that slowing.
Yep.
I see a lot of neighborhoods that have pizza joints, brew pubs, and barbecue joints now.
Agreed.
And and you have a neighborhood you have a neighborhood pizza joint, brew pub, and barbecue. I see that trend continuing.
Well, I think the backyard scene is as hot. It's never been hotter. The backyard scene is as hot as it's ever been. It's continuing to rise in popularity. People want to be the pitmaster of their cul-de-sac, or the king of the cul-de-sac, or the pitmaster of the backyard, whatever you want to call it. And there's lots of great equipment out there now. There's a lot of big-name box retailers, all the way down to the mom-and-pop fireplace, barbecue, and grill shops that are carrying great items. And they have access. 12 years, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I sound so old. Hunter, don't laugh. But, 12 and 13 years ago, you didn't have the same amount of access to all of this knowledge base that you do now. Now you can get on. If Hunter was inspired to become a great backyard cook right now, all he has to do is go on YouTube and figure out who the top names in the industry are, put them into YouTube, and inevitably there's going to be Meathead, correct? Meathead's got videos on YouTube. There's going to be 1 or 10 or 15 videos by whoever he typed in, and explaining and painstaking detail on how to make the best brisket or ribs or chicken or whatever. So I think just from that part, having such access to information makes it all the more relevant as to why this portion of the backyard portion of the industry continues to grow.
I think you're also seeing a transition between these different, you have the older guys that are, they've always lived on this, and now you're having my age that are starting to become dads as well. And so they're starting to learn, hey, how do I need to be able to do this and stuff like that. And so that's a new target, and I don't know how that's going to affect, the future of the barbecue, community and stuff like that. Just having these new millennials come in because they're moving up. They're at the age where they're starting to have guys and, backyard barbecues. And so I think what you talked about, getting inspired, getting the young guys inspired to be able to grill off and to have these things, that's what's going to push it to the competitions, to anything, to be able to keep on growing it, All
right, so let's ask this question then, Meathead. I don't want to ask a question that you might not be thinking about asking, but are you technically a millennial, Hunter?
Absolutely.
All right, so that's weird because my daughter's younger than you, and they said that she was Generation Z.
Yeah.
Whatever,
so I was born in 1998.
Yeah. So you're a millennial, and millennials, Meathead, do you think it's fair to say that they continually get bashed on a daily basis for being the worst people on earth?
I don't know.
Roundly.
I don't stay on top of that.
Roundly,
that
of
sort of
course.
labeling
Yes,
and
of
broad brush stuff. I'm a baby boomer, and all manner of stuff is ascribed to my generation, very little of which applies to me. So I don't pay attention to that.
All right. So, Hunter, are you somebody that in this millennial context has no interest in learning about cooking or just want people to do it for you? I mean, where's your level of interest in being a self-sustaining person?
Yeah, honestly, the interest comes in my Spanish background. They have grills off and stuff like that. In fact, that's what we did one of the weeks. And so having the friends around you, being able to build that culture. I think there's different cultures, but that's something that I've always desired and I've been working on. Like I grilled all the time out here. I would buy shrimp. I'd buy, T-bone steaks, and I would grill them up, and then it would last me the week, through. And so I was smart with my money, trying to conserve that and stuff like that. And, I have a huge desire, and I know other guys are they're looking at me, they're like, what the crap? I need to learn how to do this too. And I'm like, hey, you got to make your wife happy, your kids happy one day. So
that's right. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Exactly.
Well, the old saying about the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. It's true the other way around too.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, by the way, I meant to mention to you, I tried to log into this conversation on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
And as of 8:05, you were still not streaming on YouTube.
Yes, I think if you try it now, you'll be okay because I was having trouble access.
I'm on Facebook with you now. So
all right.
We're on Skype.
Yeah.
I brought show and tell.
Go ahead.
For those people who are watching, can you see this?
They look like plump raisins. Are they dates?
Yes, they are. They are.
The raisins or dates?
Cherry tomato raisins from the smoker.
Really?
I do this every year, and I got to tell you, next to pork, this is the best thing you can put on your smoker. I get cherry tomatoes. Our garden is overflowing with them. And I take a sharp knife and poke 3 or 4 holes in them so that they'll dry out.
Uh-huh.
I put them on the smoker at 225, 230. It's got to be up above the boiling point. It took about 6-7 hours. They dehydrate to raisin size. They're tender like raisins. I don't know if you can see. I'm squishing them.
Oh, yeah.
They look and feel just like raisins. But just like raisins have all that concentrated sugar in them, so do these. And they have smoke flavor. They're just incredible.
Really?
They are. You can throw them in a salad. You can bake them into a loaf of bread or a focaccia, on a pizza, anything you would do with a sun-dried tomato, because that's essentially what you have, is a sun-dried tomato dried on the smoker with smoke. Just unbelievable. And I made this today. The initial size, it was like,
it was huge, right? Yeah.
But they're phenomenal. They're absolutely wonderful. I eat them like candy, but also great to cook with. If you've got cherry tomatoes out the wazoo like we do out there, folks.
Yeah. They all come in at the same time, right?
Do this.
Yeah. Good in salads, I would imagine, too, right?
Oh, absolutely great in a salad.
Yes, I bet.
Any place you would put a raisin.
On top of
I mean,
pizza.
you want to make a braciole, an Italian braciole, or roll up a flank steak or something. Wherever you, pastas. Just anywhere you would put a raisin. It's just a tomato raisin, and it's got smoke.
Nice. Meathead joining us here from AmazingRibs.com. All right, Meathead, so let's talk about, for the remainder of this segment, let's talk about, we had touched on it, I think, last month or maybe the month before when it was just kind of getting introduced. It was this whole thing of BBQ Stars video. We had talked about the phenomenon known as master class, which is a bunch of courses covering a whole bunch of different things, from music directing to video directing to cooking and everything in between. BBQ Stars is something of a similar ilk, but only focusing on live fire, correct?
Yeah, the concept is really cool. There's a system out there called Masterclass, and this is very similar. What you do is you sign up for the Masterclass series, and you're going to get a series of videos which you can watch 1, 10, 100 times. I don't know for sure if you can download them, but you essentially get a pass to watch them all. And they've hired 10 of us. And a lot of these names will be familiar to your listeners. Tuffy Stone, possibly the winningest cook on the barbecue circuit, period.
No, I don't want to sound like a craphead here, but couldn't make it past the second week of BBQ Brawl.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Can't
I
believe
didn't watch it.
I don't even want to get into that travesty, but go ahead.
Yeah, because competition cooking on TV is a real measure of your skill.
That's right. By the way, peace and love, Tuffy. I was just kidding.
Yeah. Tuffy is cooking. He's going to talk about brines, rubs, sauces.
Nice.
He's cooking tri-tip and ribs and chicken. He's going to talk about his ribs and chicken recipes. And each of us is doing about 8 or 10 videos. Harry Sue has gone off the deep end. You wouldn't be surprised to hear that, would you? He's doing a lot of Asian. He's doing beef martini, shaken, not stirred.
What?
Pureed pear. Yeah.
What does that mean, beef martini?
I have no idea, but I'm sure Harry does.
Fine.
But these are each videos. They're each going to run 5 to 10 minutes.
All right.
And you'll get all of them. There'll be about 100 of these videos. Pureed pear, flanken cut beef short ribs with kimchi.
Wow.
Thai spicy chili flank steak salad. Rice wine marinated barbecue pork belly with bok choy, and on and on and on. There's, let's see, I'm looking at the list here on the screen. Ken and Brett, the steak guys. These are the two guys who invented the Steak Cook-Off Association.
All right. Yep.
They're going to be doing steaks and whole prime rib, and chicken, and brining and rotisserie and a few other things. This is one of my favorite people. He's not well known in the barbecue world, but he should be. Kent Rollins. Do you know that name?
I know the name. Isn't he a writer of some sort?
He does chuck wagon cooking.
Oh, right. That's
cast iron cooking. He's the master of the Dutch oven and the cast iron and campfire and chuck wagon. And he's going to do live fire cooking, heat management, Dutch oven basics, cooking in rough weather conditions. And he's going to do a whole bunch of fun stuff there. Matt Pittman, he's doing barbacoa and pork belly burnt ends and smoked lemonade. And then Ariane Dagan, who is not often thought of in the barbecue community.
Yes. She
is the lady behind D'Artagnan, which is the company that imports, imports from France and the U.S., the best foie gras, and also a lot of great game meats, venison, beef, lamb, horse. No horse. I'm sorry, Greg. I was just kidding you.
Hey, by the way, I don't want to diverge, but Hunter has had horse testicles, believe it or not. True story, right, Hunter?
Absolutely. And Rocky Mountain.
How's that?
Oysters.
You ever eaten horse balls, Meathead?
No.
Never?
I've had beef testicles. I had a friend once. He did a dinner in my honor at a French restaurant.
Yeah.
With duck, with four olive dishes, and so there was a black olive, a green olive, it's 3 olives and a white olive, and the white olive turned out to be duck testicles.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, joke's on you.
Good.
Yeah, the Hunter described him.
Ariane is doing a lot of interesting game and stuff.
Yeah.
Dave Buska, you know him very well.
We call him Busco where I come from. But that's
sponsor. He's on there. He's going to do his competition chicken. He's doing, it looks like all chicken and brisket.
Nice.
And let's see what else. Dean Fearing, he's out of Dallas. He's a restaurateur, but he hasn't posted the recipes he's doing yet. And Tim Grandinetti, also another restaurateur. I don't know. He's doing farm to table flavor bombs, whatever that means. Huh. And then I start my series. I'm prepping tomorrow, and we shoot Thursday and Friday. 2 full solid days of shooting. There's a camera crew. Gonna have 10 people on set.
Wow.
And I'm going to be doing pulled pork, but I'm also going to be doing sous vide Q steak on the afterburner.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do sweet and sour pork with mumbo sauce. Chilean sea bass on, Greg, a term you coined, close proximity smoking.
That's right, CPS.
Right, it sits right on top of grill grates, and the smoke is right below it.
That's right.
I'm going to do smoked salmon. I'm going to do a grilled ratatouille, and I have special guests coming in, Greg and Christina Gardbo from Chicago Culinary Kitchen. They are really talented cooks, and they're going to be doing their porchetta.
Wow.
So there's some really good stuff and a lot of technical stuff. So there's going to be like 80 to 100 videos, and it's going to go on. You can go to, all right, here's how you go to get on the mailing list when they open it up for sale.
Under pay attention.
They'll let you know. https://tinyurl.com.
Meathead, what the hell are you talking about? Give us the freaking website. Tiny URL HTTPS. What is that? Are you for real?
Good thing we got it on podcast so we can re-listen.
Yeah, Greg, don't you speak internet? It's tinyurl.com.
Yes.
/BBQ Stars.
It's not just
tinyurl.com /BBQ Stars.
Is that your thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's why it's the tiny URL part.
Well, the URL that they gave me is like 40 letters and numbers long, and that's ridiculous.
Why
so
don't they just go to bbqstars.com and sign up? I mean, how stupid.
Because if you go to tinyurl.com /BBQ Stars,
yes,
then I get credit for it.
Oh, fine. It's ridiculous, but fine. Please use the tiny URL /BBQ Stars.
Yeah.
tinyurl.com /BBQ Stars. Look at, hold on. Hold that up there. Look at it. There it is, right there. Boom. He's got it.
Got it.
Okay.
The youth these days, Meathead, and
the millennials.
Yeah, the millennials.
They're quick.
Nobody thought that they were worth anything.
You said URL. I want them to know that I'm out there helping them sell this thing.
tinyurl.com /BBQ Stars.
That's the ticket.
All right. Well, that's it. We're talking with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Hunter Saunders is in as well. So you guys hang back for just 1 second. We'll be back to talk about maybe a little more barbecue television. We'll wrap up the BBQ Star stuff, too, if we need to. I'll talk to you quickly about a personal appearance that I'll be making September 21st all day long at the Hartville Hardware Grill Fest 2019. Yes, come and watch me MC and delight you all day with jokes and tomfoolery. We'll also be interacting with live demos with the likes of Lisa Delgado, a local Cleveland chef who'll be tooling around on the Big Green Egg. There'll also be a Weber live demo person. They have yet to be determined, but as soon as I get that news, I will let you know. And of course, the big draw besides me is none other than the Diva Q herself, Danielle Bennett. And I mean, what's more fun than 2 years ago I was emceeing the Hartville Hardware Grill Fest. That was 2017. Diva was there. And we went back. It was like a live on location BBQ Central show segment, except she was really cooking. And I was really interviewing her while she was cooking and taking some audience questions. It was great. You can take part as well, as long as you visit HartvilleHardware.com, the nation's largest hardware store. Again, that's September 21st. It starts around 10 a.m. I will be there 8:30, getting all the high fives and signing all the autographs as needed. And then, as I mentioned, BBQ is in. Weber will be announced at some point. At least Delgado, local Cleveland chef, will be on the Big Green Egg. HartvilleHardware.com, and we are back with more Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Stick around.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
All right, this portion of the show being brought to you by CookinPellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets. If you want to try a little bit of that close proximity smoking, use some cooking pellets. Why not? CookinPellets.com, or you can buy at Amazon.com too if you want. Hunter, you ever heard of Amazon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can get cooking pellets right at Amazon. How about
Millennial owns it.
Yeah. A rich guy. Oh, well, half of rich as he used to be. But nevertheless, it's still pretty rich, right, Meathead?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So let's get ready to. Oh no! Hold on. For some reason, Meathead, I accidentally shut down our outline. So, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about in regards to the BBQ Stars portion?
No, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. I'm looking forward to seeing these other guys cook and their tips, because I think you're going to get to see better than what you get on YouTube from each of us.
Right.
And I've seen the production values. They've done this before for other specialties. In fact, the last one they did was knitting stars. Can you believe it? There are knitting stars in this world.
I was on that video. What are you talking about?
A bunch of these videos, and they're fantastic. It makes me want to go knit something.
Did you master the hook and purl, Meathead? That's what everybody wants to know. To master the hook and purl. Yeah, all right. Hunter, are you inspired to sub up on BBQ Stars?
Yay.
Yes? How much is it, Meathead?
$2.97.
$2.97. You got that kind of coin laying around there, youngster?
Oh, absolutely.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Damn liar.
Door to
Damn
door.
liar. That's right.
Racing money door to door.
Yeah.
I'll go sell your radio show.
Go right back to doing what you were doing. Knock on the doors and ask for cash. You can go buy Meathead's class. tinyurl.com/BBQ Stars. Please use that, tinyurl.com/BBQ Stars, so we can make Meathead a couple bucks. All right, so you had mentioned, or we were talking about whether competition barbecue had seen its heyday, which I think at the moment it has. And we talked about barbecue pitmasters, but are you watching BBQ Brawl?
No, I don't watch barbecue television much anymore. I don't watch a lot of television. I'm a reader. Always have been, read fiction. I finally got sucked into reading Toni Morrison after she died this last week. Everybody's talking about how great a novelist she is, so I'm reading her. But no, I don't watch it. I mean, I've had enough to do with television to know that it's not real, and that, things are invented and conflicts are created. I know that when John Marcus did the original show, there was a degree of sincerity to it. I mean, if they kicked Tuffy off on the first week,
Hey, he overcooked a brisket in 5 hours. I mean, you got to go for that, right?
I don't know what happened. I have no idea. But yeah, your buddy has fallen asleep over there.
What are you talking about? He's he's reading with his eyes.
No, he's yawning.
A break.
No. I was reading your website. And I was looking at my legs, and I was saying, man, those would probably be pretty tasty.
Yeah, see, we're inspiring him to eat. Here we go. So, Hunter, do you watch any kind of barbecue television? Be honest.
No. Yeah. I watch cooking shows where there's happens to be like a grill master or something like that, and I'm like, oh yeah, Greg, boom, shout out. But that's all I really think.
You're not. It's not appointment television for you. You're not tuning into the Food Network to watch Bobby Flay and Michael Simon get it on and barbecue.
Not
Brawl.
quite. Yeah. In fact, I'm texting all my friends, and they're like, he does a radio show about barbecue. I was like, absolutely pretty dope, right?
Yes.
And they're like,
Hellified dope.
and they're like, wow, I didn't even know that exists. And
Did you
just
know that
believe it.
Meathead, how long have we been doing segments together now?
I don't know, at least 10 years.
At least 10 years. Can you believe that? We've been doing segments since Hunter was 10 years old. What
Well,
the
we were doing
hell?
segments since my hairline was down here somewhere.
Yeah, my hair,
Hey,
hairline
I
would never
didn't get a chance
Understand.
today to congratulate you
Oh, all right.
on your special broadcast. When was it? Tuesday?
Thursday?
Thursday?
Yes.
And for those who didn't
Big fan.
hear about this, Greg has been chosen twice this year for breaking news exclusive broadcast, and it really is he's always been a star, but he's coming into his own now. Others are recognizing him for what he is. Thursday, he had an exclusive broadcast with KCBS to announce their new CEO,
Yes.
which is a pretty substantial move. And we were talking about Competition Barbecue. This is an organization that is at the center of Competition Barbecue.
Yes.
They sponsor or sanction more events than anybody, and they're struggling a little bit too. Their membership is down. You were saying earlier, competition. Some of them are shutting down,
Yeah.
closing.
Yeah.
I've heard of events where they hold the event and then they didn't have enough money to pay the winner.
Crazy time.
Some of this and barbecue competitions have become. We mentioned Big Papa. Big Papa told me, he says, "Look, it's a rich man's sport. I mean, it used to be
It
you
is
could
now.
roll in with a sedan and a Weber Smoky Mountain in the trunk, pop open the trunk, and cook 3 or 4 meats on one smoker, and have a chance to win something.
Sure.
Now you have to have a Winnebago or a trailer with a kitchen built in. You got to have a Jambo, which is the size of a sofa, costs 10 grand. You got to buy Wagyu beef briskets. It's just it's turned into something rarefied, and I don't know how you pull it back. I don't know why. Since I don't compete, I stopped judging a long time ago. I'm a backyard cook. I don't know how you bring it back, but I think Emily Detweiler, the new CEO, has her work cut out for her.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think it can get there's a mindset that has to be rolled back, which is undoing everything that you just said, Meathead. The prime or the Wagyu beefs, the jam, and forget about it. Let's keep that, okay? Let's go ahead and keep all the great meats, because great meat is great meat, and if you can afford it, whatever. But it is, those high dollar pits and the Winnebagos and the motorhomes and all this other stuff. So if somebody like, let's say Hunter sees something and he's like, hey, competition barbecue, then he goes and scouts a competition out, and a lot of the heavy hitters are there, and he sees what they're rolling into it. He's either going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to have to mortgage everything in order to afford to get into this sport, or more importantly, he's going to be like, well, forget about this. If this is what I need in order to achieve their levels, there's just no way I can afford to get into it. And it's not a rich man's sport, but there is certainly the perception that one needs to have either a big credit line or a lot of money in order to be successful.
And
you pretty much have to knock off work on Friday. You've
Minimum.
got to drive cross country.
Yeah.
Sometimes large distances. Gas ain't cheap. There's an entry fee. The meats, the cooker. Usually you need to have somebody helping you, so it's 2 people off work.
Yeah.
It eats up all Saturday and Sunday when you should be with your wife and kids. And the camaraderie is fantastic. I
Sure.
mean, I've seen enough of them where the regulars, the guys who go every week or a couple of times a month, guys like Darren Worth from Iowa Smoky D's, these are nice people, and they love each other. They drink beer, they sit around and talk, and they come from states apart, but they see each other every weekend or every other weekend. So there is that communal spirit.
Yep.
But I don't know how you. The other thing is when the public goes to a competition, There's nothing for
Yeah,
them
well,
there.
that's really probably the bigger issue is that
Yes.
there is no forward facing or crowd facing. So if all three of us went to a barbecue competition that we knew about, we might be able to hang out because we have some name cachet around, but the general public just can't show up, and Hunter can't go, hey, give me a slice of that brisket because there's health code violations and all that. Plus, everybody's hidden away in all those big RVs and all that other stuff. So. Yeah, I mean that's going to be a huge piece. Is somehow getting the crowd involved and selling those tickets and generating more revenue and adding that to the winnings pot and all that stuff. And that's not what's happening currently. And I think that's where Emily will.
Get there,
I think that's where Emily will succeed.
Some vendor who goes to carnivals and he serves.
Yes, right.
He just spits out ribs.
Yes.
They bear no resemblance to prize-winning barbecue.
Yeah. It's so I think this is where Emily's strong suit is actually going to end up lying because she has done a number of these kind of things in other lives of professions. So we'll see how she does. I think you're looking at $1,200 or $1,300 of investment to do a barbecue competition over a weekend, and I think I can find a lot better use for $1,200 or $1,300 than doing a barbecue competition. And if you really like it and you have the money and you want to do it, that's fine. People fish, people play golf. I mean, Hunter, you're a golfer, right? I mean, you can easily drop a lot of money on irons.
$1,200, that's just a set of irons.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but you're not buying irons every week, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, and how much you spending on greens fees, cart rentals?
Yeah. You're spending, depends where you're going. I mean, Torrey Pines is $250 to $500. Depending on what time of the week you go.
Yeah.
On the weekend, it's 500 or so.
That's a fair parallel.
Yeah. So depending on where you go and others. So I mean, you will see. I mean, some of it does run into, hey, it's a hobby. It's going to cost you money regardless, and you know what you're getting into. But we have seen the rise in overall cost over the last 5 and 6 and 7 years. It just doesn't seem to make sense as time wears on that kind of a cost increases, or what appears to be associated with what you have to do in order to win. So, I mean, you don't need...
Hunter?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a variation of golf called equalizer golf?
I think it's on the TV show, what is it? Is it, I forget what the TV show on Golf Channel was, but I've heard of it.
What is
equalizer golf? I used to play it in college. And now let's say you and I go out on the links together. Now, I haven't played golf since college. So you're going to kick the stuffings out of me for the first few holes. And every stroke you beat me by, you need to take a slug of whiskey. It's in the cart. And so
that's Mesa, Arizona, right there.
Me by 3 or 4 strokes per hole. After 3 or 4 holes, we're getting equalized, and I'm getting motivated.
Wow,
you gotta have a cart for playing equalizer.
That seems very dangerous to have a cart playing equalizer golf. You probably
it is.
You need a driver. You need 2 carts, one with designated drivers.
By the 9th hole, you're doing wheelies in the sand trap.
Holy moly! Outrageous. All right, Meathead. So in before I let you go, we got 2 weeks time. I will be reconvening into the Windy City of Chicago. Really coming, unless something changes between now and then. But the plan is that I'll be coming. So, where should we be dining amongst all of the great options?
Well, you said your daughter is coming with you, and she wants steak.
Well, she's the reason that we're going.
Okay, well then let's give her steak.
All right.
There's no shortage of great steak in Chicago. I forget where you're staying, but I know where you're staying.
The Mart.
We may just eat at Smith & Walensky. It's right near there. They're really good steaks. Maybe not the single best, but they're really good. And if the weather's nice, we can sit right on the riverfront. It's just beautiful, the boats and the people and the strolling and the outdoor. And they have a great wine list. Oh, you don't drink anymore.
I don't.
We may have to hold you down and pour something down your gullet.
I don't know. That seems highly illegal, but whatever. One of my new favorite follows on Instagram, Nick Solaris, I don't know if you know who he is, but his favorite meal of all time is Smith & Walensky prime rib, creamed spinach, and hash brown. He has it every Sunday. He goes there every Sunday in New York City. Every Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
I prefer ribeye steak to prime rib. It's the same cut of meat.
Yes.
But the ribeye steak is browned on more surfaces than a prime rib, and yeah, we could get that. Whatever your daughter wants, we'll find something. Hopefully the weather will be nice. We'll have a good time.
All right. Well, I can't wait to do it and reconvene in person with one Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. In the meantime, do this. Go to AmazingRibs.com and ask all of your questions. Consider joining the Pitmasters Club, by the way. It would get you free access to a forum and some pitcasts that I produce once a week for Meathead as well. And if you're so inclined and you want video, tinyurl.com/BBQ Stars in order to sign up for that. And that's only limited time sign up, right? Meathead, or is that ongoing at the moment?
Right now, they're going to open. You can sign up to be on the mailing list, and they're going to open registration for like only a week. I've been arguing with them really vehemently that they need to keep it open longer, that people are going to hear about it and want to do it, but they think that there's, I don't know, I'm not going to get into it.
Right.
But in any case, there's one more tidbit of news.
Go.
We'll talk about it next month.
All right.
But next week, we are announcing at AmazingRibs.com our first meetup in Memphis.
Holy moly. It's going to be a meetup. There's going to be a
what
meetup.
I believe is the very first conference of consumers. There's been National Barbecue Association for the trade.
Yes.
There are several conventions related to the barbecue business, but we're going to have a consumer-facing, consumer-oriented meetup in Memphis, pork-centric, really good pork stuff, pork seminars, pork tasting, and then we're going to all board buses and we're going to hit the barbecue joints in Memphis.
Oof.
And we'll be announcing it next week, and you'll be able to register for that too.
All right. Well, if you have any questions, head on over to AmazingRibs.com. It is Meathead. You find him here the second Tuesday of every month. Meathead, always appreciate the time, and I will see you sooner than later for realsies.
Yeah, it'll be great.
All right. There he is. Meathead right there. Where are you going? Oh, he's out of here. Going to bed. Do you want to sign off, or are you just going to dump it? All right. All right. He's got to go hit the potty. All right. Anyway, that was Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. And I want to talk to you quickly about something. What am I talking to you about? I don't know. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. The Barbecue Guru, that's right, makers of automatic pit temperature control devices. You struggling with your temperature control on your kettle or your bullet smoker or smaller offset or ceramic style cooker? Well, I have a solution for you. It's called the Barbecue Guru, and this is a neat little device. It varies in levels of technology and price, of course, but if you want something just to be able to keep that pit temperature consistent, you want to check these guys out. BBQGuru.com is the website, 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. You can call them and ask any questions that you have. It's basically a little micro fan, and then you put a probe into the cooking chamber, set the temperature you want the pit to run at, then it'll pulse on the fire, keep it right where you want. It actually leads to a great fuel economy. Get a longer burn, more efficient burn, of course, because it's being computer controlled. Yet they also have the world's first ceramic cooker with a built-in power draft fan. That's called the Monolith. If you have a Barbecue Guru temperature controller already, you can hook the controller to the fan. Away you go. You don't have to buy a new fan. You don't have to worry about it. Just hook that controller up and away you go. Plus, it comes with a great number of wonderful accessories at no additional cost. According to TNS Barbecue, they also work on larger offsets as well. Yay! Again, the website, bbqguru.com. That's bbqguru.com. Or you can call out at 800-288-GURU. We are back to wrap the first hour. Stick around. Be right back.
big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
All right, welcome back to this portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. That's right. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring or connect via Bluetooth. I used mine 2 days ago when I had no less than 3 3-pound tomahawk steaks on the originally on the Traeger, moved over to the Weber for the final sear. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because Fireboard fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com, or you can call 816-945-2232. That's 816-945-2232. Good folks over at Fireboard. Listener email coming in from Jeffrey Stone. Hey, Greg, coming to you from a slightly moist south. Just finished the Myron Mixon interview/show, and I must admit, Myron is a polished interviewee. His TV persona versus his live interview persona complement each other. The interview was entertaining and as smooth as any of the others previous. It was a new benchmark for great interviews as it relates to the show. Keep on rocking it from the Barbecue North Coast, and I'll keep rocking it from Grandpa's Pride Barbecue Secret Test Location. All right. Thank you for writing in, Jeffrey. It's Jeffrey Stone, Grandpa's Pride Barbecue. Jeffrey, I would like to say that you're the first one to tell me how great that was. But that did get a lot of reaction, both email-wise, social media-wise, and then all I had to do was go to the old download numbers and the Myron Mixon interview. One of the most downloaded right off the bat. So my agenda or my way to track how popular a show is, I don't sit there and go from release to where we are present day. I mean, that's forever on some of those shows. For me, it's a 1 week snapshot from release to a week out. How many can we accumulate? And he's well into the lead. Let's say that. And it was a good interview. Like I said, if you've only seen Myron Mixon on television and you're not into folks that seem to really love themselves, you might not be a fan. However, when you see him in a setting like my show and he comes on, look, he's still very brutally honest. He's not looking to dodge any questions, but he is himself in that kind of a format. He's not gimmicked up or playing a character or a gimmicked up version of himself for the TV, which you have to do. It's entertaining. In this setting, you get the real Myron Mixon. Thoughtful, unafraid, and honest. And we go from there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get ready for the second hour. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Stick around. You'll be right back.
This is Dion Blumenrader with Big Hoss One Sauce, and you're listening to the best show on all things barbecue with my man, Greg Rempe.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet for wiener.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seed.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard. It is the Barbecue Central Show. Here we are. We do it live every Tuesday. And we do it from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. If you missed the first hour, you missed Meathead and a delightful discussion on any number of topics. Also, you missed a guest appearance by Hunter Saunders, who may or may not be returning this evening. He's got an early call, early bell in the morning, as we say in the biz. He's going to be leaving out of here at, I think he said he was going to be pulling out of the driveway around 4:30, so that's 6 hours from now. He can come in and finish the second hour. I mean, come on, kid. What are you doing? Let's go. Man up. What'd you do? Get fired today? Too soon? So, if he comes back in, he comes back in. If not, don't worry about it. Happy to have you on this show as well, and here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
All right. Still to come on this show this evening, you will find the likes of John Stage, the founder of Dinosaur Bar-B-Que Restaurant. Also, in the 1035 segment, you'll find Emily Park from the American Royal Association. And we'll be talking about the impending 2019 edition of the American Royal, amongst other stuff. So that's what you have to look forward to for the rest of this show, or in podcast form, Thursday. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook. So if you want to like me, friend me, follow me, depending on what platform you like. I do try to post to all of them from time to time. I do have some help posting those, but all posts, more or less, are my own. So, quick email from Darren Gassaway. Veterans Q Chicken Rub. Great product, I know. Shout out to Steve and the gang over at Veterans Q. Some great products. I'll actually be talking about them here in a few minutes, believe it or not. Glad you like it, Darren. I also like the chicken rub. It's very good stuff. Sauces are really good. I'm a big sauce snob, and both the original and the heat for Veterans Q, very good. And that's like right in my wheelhouse of viscosity. I don't like mega thick. The only what I would call thick sauce that I seem to agree with, semi under protest, but it is good, is Blues Hog Original. That's really on the cusp of being too thick for me. And 95% of the time, I take Blues Hog Original. So if I'm buying a pint jar or whatever jar of Blues Hog Original, I also buy the complimentary size of Blues Hog Tennessee Red. And then I mix usually 50-50 Blues Hog Original and Red. Usually. Sometimes, though, it's like 75% or 3 parts of red to 1 part of the Blues Hog Original. Because Blues Hog Original is sweet, and my palate isn't a appreciator of overly sweet stuff. I'm not a big candy guy. I don't like chocolate at all. I mean, I'll eat it on occasion, but I don't prefer it, nor do I seek it out, nor do I crave and or Jones it. So I'm always more vinegar, sour, umami, savory than sweet. Although, sweet personality. You got me. You got me. Coming up on the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less this Friday, episode 85, taking you back 4 years to August 2015, where you can find a John Solberg doubleheader taking place this week as well. In this episode, I was having Chris Becker on from cookandpellets.com, and we were talking about pellets and the pellet industry 4 years ago, and probably talking about new flavors and products that he was talking about. So make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. If you don't, here's the deal. You don't have to subscribe to while I want you to, with all of my heart. You don't have to subscribe to the podcast in order to get all of the show archives. All you have to do is visit the website once a day, the bbqcentralshow.com, and then in those listed out posts, you will have tonight's show, tomorrow, hour number 1 Wednesday, hour number 2 Thursday, best of on Friday, special releases when they happen. But you got to visit the website in order to do that. And if you forget it, or you go on vacation for a week, you know, bring a computer, what have you, you want to keep up with that info, that's where subscribing to the podcast really becomes efficient and convenient. Because as long as you have your phone and you're connected to some kind of a wireless network or data network, as soon as I pump content into that podcast feed, you will be alerted. So that's why I think you should subscribe to the podcast, but you don't have to. You can go to the website. It's a clearinghouse of all of the archives, extensive archives right there on the website, which is, I guess, how it should be. So stay tuned for episode 85 coming up this Friday, and it will be available for you very early in the morning on Friday. So if you're an early riser, you're going to want to check that out. So was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I think it was last week maybe. I told you about 16-year-old Booga. I forget exactly. Come on, don't do this to me now. Got to refresh this. Everybody's so anti pop-up locker. I mean, I don't want to read your stupid ads. So leave me alone. I told you about 16-year-old Kyle Booga Giersdorf, who won $3 million because he was the best Fortnite single player ever, right? And I wasn't begrudging him his winnings or anything like that. I was more like, how do we call gaming a sport? They call it e-sport. Well, how do we call it a sport? Or how are we figuring out what's a sport or not? And if there's just a winner at something, then is everything just a sport? If there's a winner, so on and so forth. Go back and get that rant from last week. I'm not against him winning. I'm against video games being a sport, but he's evidently really good at, like, the best, to the tune of $3 million, the best. So what happens when you're the best? There's jealous bitches out there on the internet, and when you are streaming your games live on Twitch or XSplit or whatever the hell it is that you use to stream your games and let people watch, perhaps more disturbing than calling video gaming sport are people watching these professional video gamers play their video games. What the hell are you watching? You're watching some other guy or gal play video games? For what? Play your own video games. Come on. Booga should be giving e-sport classes, like cooking classes, like the competition barbecue guys were cleaning up on back in the day. Booga should be giving Fortnite classes. Anyway, here's what's happening when you win $3 million and then you're online playing Fortnite with a couple of your buddies. You get swatted. That's right. Swatted. The teen, according to NBCNews.com, the teen who took home $3 million after winning the Fortnite World Cup last month was swatted while streaming video games from his home. Booga, 16, was nearing the end of a match Saturday in Fortnite Arena Trios when he suddenly abandoned his keyboard. Did he just leave the game? Another gamer could be heard asking. Off camera, Giersdorf was heard speaking with his father saying, "I've been swatted." Swatting is a harassment tactic in which someone reports an emergency at a perceived enemy or rival's home in order to get police and ultimately SWAT to respond to the location. When Giersdorf eventually returned to the stream, he explained what had happened. "Yeah, I got swatted, dude. They came in with guns, bro. They literally pulled up. The internet is effing crazy." It was not immediately clear who called in the swatting on Giersdorf, although they believe it happened overseas. In a Facebook post, the Upper Pottsgrove Township Police Department said officers were dispatched after a call was received about a possible shooting. The caller pretended to be Giersdorf, claimed that he had killed his father and tied up his mother. Now, that's bad, but it also happens that when you are the victim of swatting, it can have deadly consequences. Sometimes you can get shot and killed. Andrew Finch, 28, was killed in 2017 as the police responded to a prank 911 call from California about a shooting and kidnapping at Finch's home in Wichita. When SWAT rolls in, they're full hot. They couldn't make heads or tails of Andrew Finch. Shot him. Swatted to the fullest. No, please, I beg of you. I beg of all of you. No swatting me, please. Please. I mean, come on. Let the dude enjoy his $3 million, play his online games, and have people watch him play his online games. Don't swat him. Swat him before you swat me, though, please. Is that possible? If you like SWAT Rempy, SWAT Booga, SWAT Rempy, SWAT... I played real sports when I was a youth. I run 5Ks every day. Please? And I've never won $3 million hosting a Barbecue Central show ever in my life. Never. There's never been a Barbecue Central show tournament. I've never won anything to the tune of $3 million where you would really be pissed at me anyway. But yeah, a little thanks to him. What is this? So a little thanks to him, right? I win $3 million. Now I'm swatted. You can get shot. Get shot. All right, we come back with John Stage from Dinosaur Bar-B-Que. Looking forward to that conversation. Still no Hunter Saunders in the second hour yet. He may or may not show up. And you're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Stick around. Be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Veterans Q. They currently have 2 sauces, original and sweet heat, 2 rubs, chicken and pork and beef on the market. As mentioned by Darren Gassaway, who wrote in unprovoked, chicken rub is great. I agree. All products are great. I've tasted them all. They meet my satisfaction. Also, 100% of their profits donated to credible veteran organizations. Use code BBQ20 for 20% off your entire order. That's BBQ20, and you do that at veteransq.com. All right, 31 years of doing something, a long time indeed, but in the restaurant industry, it seems like it could be 2 lifetimes. My next guest founded Dinosaur Bar-B-Que that long ago, 31 years, and over those years and decades has built a name into not only a regionally known name, but nationally known name for barbecue as well. But how does this story get started, and how does it evolve into what Dinosaur Bar-B-Que is today? No better person to chat with to find out about all of that than by racing into the Fogo Charcoal Hotline and welcoming first-timer to the show, John Stage. Hey, John.
Hey, Greg. How you doing, man?
I am absolutely fabulous, John. Appreciate you making time for the show for. I appreciate you making time for the show this evening. First time with my new lips in the second hour here, John. Apologize. So, 31 years celebrating the life of Dinosaur Bar-B-Que, and we're going to kind of poke as far through that whole story as we can here this evening during our time. So where does John Stage, I mean, if we're talking about barbecue meccas, we talk about North Carolina, and South Carolina, and Memphis, and Texas, and Kansas City. There may be some other ones that are budding, but you don't think of the southern tier of New York or the western tier of New York or upstate New York. So where does your passion or for barbecue or live fire get sparked, and then we can kind of build it in from there?
Oh, wow. Well, if you do go back about 35 years ago, I started this business as like a mobile concession, but I did, I lived like kind of a carny lifestyle for about 5 years. I did fairs, festivals, started out doing motorcycle shows, and we made our name Dinosaur Bar-B-Que because I had developed a barbecue sauce. I did sausage, peppers, and onions, steak sandwiches, but everybody on the fair circuit and biker circuit had like a marinara sauce. So I developed a barbecue sauce and named it Dinosaur Bar-B-Que. Once I started in order to stay active in the fair circuit, you had to head south. So everything dries up in the Northeast after August. So once I went down south and I had the name barbecue in my name, people were telling me this is not barbecue. What is it? Sausage, peppers, and onions, and steak sandwiches. So I kind of got the bug, I'm going to say around 1986, 87. And where it really hit to me when I went to Memphis. So I started, Dinosaur is very modeled and very inspired by Memphis, especially in the early years.
John Stay joining me here on the show. Where did Dinosaur come from? Was it just something you picked out of thin air, or does it mean something specifically to you?
No, my original partner was named Dino. And Dino was 350-pound, big dude, man, and bad man. This dude he could always fight. And Dino was my original partner. We cooked over open fire. We rode old Harleys. I rode a panhead. We rode an old shovel head. So we're like, man, we're like dinosaurs. But his name was Dino. But there's really not much to do with dinosaurs inside the restaurant. You would never, outside the name, you would never think there's any connection to dinosaurs. So it's more about Dino and the name, his name versus anything else.
How does the carny lifestyle appeal to you enough to want to kind of run that circuit? Because, I mean, you're on the road all the time in order to make a living doing that, right?
Well, it went just the opposite way because I was on the road for 5 or 6 years. I wanted to settle down. I just had my first son, and lifestyle's, it's not a very healthy lifestyle. So I really needed to settle down, and that's how I opened up Syracuse, the first dino in Syracuse.
So, are you're the original or the flagship? Can we call it the flagship location? Is Syracuse? So when you open it there, so that's now turning 30 years old or going on 31 years old.
Yeah, it's 31. Right
how quickly? I mean, geez, 30 years old. I mean, that's late 80s. So, what kind of a barbecue scene is in Syracuse? And do you know fairly quickly that you're going to be able to make a run of it, at least in one restaurant?
No, man. The first 2 years, I mean, I could have closed the door 100 times. And I really can't say that my barbecue was on point back then. We were just, it's like learning the craft. And I had just started understanding at that point what barbecue was about, or getting an idea what barbecue was about. It wasn't really till the second year that I think it was accumulation of getting better at what we were doing and starting to get that, it was very much perceived as a biker bar when we first opened. And then we got a few reviews that, really touted it. And then we started getting a very eclectic group of people that came into it. And then I got a liquor license in 1991. So for the first couple of years, we did not have a liquor license. So there was no beer. It was just kind of like a, breakfast, lunch, and dinner spot or supper spot. We closed at 8 o'clock. So getting the liquor license was a big turning point.
Because then people can at least drink if they don't like the food, right?
Exactly. Drown their sorrows.
Yeah. So you are a couple years into Syracuse. You realize, okay, things are going to kind of pan out. Do you immediately start thinking about multiple locations, or are you just at that point focusing on continuing to turn out a decent product and keeping your head afloat in that singular location in Syracuse?
Yeah, it was 10 years before we opened up the next one. So Rochester was the second one. That was 1998. So no, we were doing everything to keep our head above the water. I mean, it was kind of explosive growth around 91, 92. So I really had my hands full for a while. So no, it wasn't until 10 years later that we opened the second place.
Did you ever think about like New York City or I don't know, like so I'm going to come at this in a very brutal way, but I'm originally from upstate New York myself, Saratoga Springs for a number of years before my dad took a transfer, moved out here to Cleveland. Rochester isn't really, aside from what was then a still, well, 97, probably not so much, but Eastman Kodak pretty much ran the roost out there in Rochester. But that was it. So how does Rochester even appeal to somebody, especially in a restaurant which is highly volatile and there's a good chance that you're probably going to shut the doors at some point in that first couple of years anyway. Why Rochester of all places?
Well, okay. Good question. I started bottling my barbecue sauce in Rochester. So around 93, I ended up going to Razorback Cookers in the town of Blytheville, Arkansas, to brew my barbecue sauce. This is like 92, 93. And then the sauce it started hitting a little bit, so I needed to cut down on the trucking involved in the cost of that. So I found a guy, a spaghetti sauce maker in Rochester, who said, "Hey man, we can do your sauce." So I started going to Rochester, and every day, or probably once a week, I went there, and I kept going by this beautiful 1905 train station that had been closed down for many years. And it was really falling in love with the real estate, but falling in love with this old building that got me to Rochester. So it wasn't, it was brewing the sauce in Rochester and then seeing this. I'm a sucker for old buildings. I love rehabbing old stuff. And that's how Rochester happened.
My dad just sent me... I'm sorry, my dad had just sent me a text message and said that he's been to the Rochester location and that it's literally in a bridge. Yeah,
it's a bridge over the Genesee River. I mean, it's a spectacular building with incredible views. So it was really a love of the building that got me to Rochester.
So now it's 1998. You get the Rochester location open. Does this one take off quicker because now you have 8, 9, 10 years behind you first before you open the second location where you can really start to turn it up pretty quick, or does it take a little bit of time too?
No, this one kind of hit right out the gate. It was oh man, it was we were not ready for what hit us when it hit. So. It hit hard, and we had to relearn what the world was like for 2 restaurants versus 1. So it was a big learning experience, definitely. I spent a lot of time back and forth on the thruway going back to Syracuse or Rochester.
I mean, that's a couple-hour commute each way, right?
It's about an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah.
Now you have a successful location at Syracuse. You have a successful location in Rochester. I mean, everybody okay over there?
Yeah, I'm on the street, man. So you're gonna get some passing by.
So, at what point do you think that now we have 2? Is it always one by one, or do you think, hey, we can start going multiple locations at one time as we start to grow this thing out?
No, it was one by one. The next one was Harlem, and that was in 2004. So the first was 10 years. The second was 5 years. So we opened in Harlem in 2004. So it was more, there was never a plan. It was more opportunistic and more what I wanted to do. And I really, I grew up in the New York area, so I always wanted someday to move back to New York. And my family's from Washington Heights, above, a little bit above Harlem. Mm-hmm. So I found this location. It was an old meatpacking plant in the west side of Harlem. And once again, fell in love with the area, the beautiful Riverside Drive Bridge. And I just love the area. So we decided, so again, opportunistic, not a real plan, but we did it. And the more planning stuff came later. So that was 2004, and we opened that up, and it was good. It was good.
So now you're through New York. You have locations New Jersey, Connecticut. Obviously, the sauces and the rubs that you had talked about, you can order those online. I think they're available at Whole Foods as well. In 2008, you partner with Soros Strategic Partners. And what I'm assuming is, there's going to be a huge influx in capital, or, maybe they're going to be some type of an investor or whatever. I guess in an effort to, is it to just get some extra cash to help build out the current locations, or are you looking to really expand at this point and put Dinosaur across the country?
Well, it was one of two things. My original partners that were with me wanted to get out of the business. So it initially started with bringing in the capital to buy out my existing partners with a vision of expanding down the road. Because remember, 2008, the world kind of melted at that point.
Yep.
So there was really no major plans to expand right out of the gate. It was more, hey, let's see how the world shakes out. So it became something I was very comfortable with, was opening. I'm good at one restaurant a year. That's probably that is my bandwidth. I can do one a year, maybe one every 2 years. And that's what I'm good at. Once, I'm going to say around 2013 is where me and my partners at that time came to a kind of a crossroads. They wanted to expand further than I was, that my bandwidth was ready for. And that's when we brought in other people. But the first 5 years were great because I did what I did. And like I said, I'm good at what I know, but beyond one a year, it's not what I'm good at.
In between the time when you sell the majority of your shares into the strategic partnership, you expand in Chicago, Baltimore. A couple of years after they open, they close. So there aren't as many. You have a couple losses against a number of wins that you have done since you had started all the way back there in the late 80s. So, I mean, what do you point to as, those not being able to burgeon and find the same success? And what is your plan then to kind of recoup and regain control of this?
Well, all right, so going back to what I just said before, on 2013, it was a very pivotal point because my partners, who were private equity people, they wanted to expand further than what I was, like I said, what I was good at.
Yep.
So in 2013, I stepped down and became an advisor versus a day-to-day. And so from 2013, 2014 is, I'm going to say more like 2014 is when I stepped away. So I'd stepped away for a few years, and the growth was very ambitious, and it went outside of our, the purview of what we're known at, because Chicago is a whole nother world. Because you go over that way, it's just a different thing. So I didn't have much to do with it at that point. I didn't run it. I was an advisor. So we just bit off more than we can chew. And that's probably the best way to describe it.
You take control back in like around 2018 or so?
Yeah, we're going on so I bought it back in October of 2018. Yeah. So now I'm back in the day-to-day and back in the majority ownership. Yeah.
What are the things that you had to take control of right away that you saw as lacking, or that wasn't that original Dinosaur that you had originally started out?
It's culture and consistency was probably the two. Not probably, they are. Those are the two things I've spent the last 6 months rebuilding. Consistency in barbecue is probably the hardest thing.
Yeah. And
if you do it over eight to 10 restaurants, I know if I'm in that store, I'm in those pits, that barbecue's going to be on point. When you're not in your restaurants, like if I'm in Harlem, that means I'm not in Syracuse or vice versa. So it becomes how to get consistent across 8 restaurants and to do it well and to teach. And so I've become very much more of a mentor and teaching people, because barbecue's judgment. It's not, there's not a recipe.
Yep.
It's a judgment. And where the wind blows, what temperature it is, what the barometric pressure is, what wood, the how damp the wood or how dry the wood is. So we have to teach judgment, which is the hardest thing about barbecue. So, and the first thing I did is like, I don't want to even think about any more restaurants. We got to just make everything consistent. And then the culture of bringing everything back to Syracuse and just getting tight. And the mantra is good to great. And how do we make things better? So it's culture and consistency. And it's me back in the kitchen also, is going through every menu item and analyzing it and tasting it and how can we do it better. So that's the fun part for me. That's what I really enjoy. The expansion and the new restaurants. If you're opening 3 or 4 a year, man, you can't. It's really hard to concentrate on making things better because you're just opening restaurants. So at this point in my life, I just don't give a shit. I just want to make what we got and make it better.
John Stage joining me here on the show, talking about the history of Dinosaur Bar-B-Que. I mean, John, it's easy to just bounce over 30 plus years here in a segment interview on the most prolific barbecue talk show ever. Is there 1 or 2 points out of those 30 years that really stick out to you as crowning achievements, or ones that you are most proud of?
Oh man, I don't know. There's 30 years. Let me say, crowning achievements. I don't know. It really goes back to like, I think when someone comes up, and I love when somebody is in an area like New York City or Syracuse, and they come up to me and say, "Man, that's some great barbecue." That to me, to this day, is the crowning achievement of that day. Mm-hmm. I've fed presidents. I've fed there's been just a lot of good shit over the years, but to this day, it's when someone goes, "Man, that's some great barbecue." That's the crowning achievement of that day, and that's what I thrive on. So yeah, there's been a lot of stuff over the years, but that was in the past. So what's good now? That's what I'm about.
Who's your barbecue mentors? Who do you lean on to get some barbecue advice?
Who do I lean on? Good question. Well, I'm going to say years ago, there was a man named Red Gill out of Blytheville, Arkansas. And at that point, I was, it was okay. It was good. It was decent. And then I learned a lot from Red and his son Ray, the Razorback cooking team back in the 90s. I learned a lot from them guys. And then it's just been really like trial and error over the years, and I like to look at not just barbecue, but the world itself is like, there's always, how do you improve? How do you tweak? I'm always tweaking, and I just look like what I know now. I know, but there's so much more to learn. So I really don't, I'm always tweaking stuff, but I'm going to say like there's one person that really elevated my barbecue was the Gills out of Blytheville. Definitely.
We are talking with John Stage. He founded Dinosaur Bar-B-Que, the website Dinosaur Bar-B-Que, and that's BARBQUE.com. If you're going to be out there in the New York area and you want to have some great barbecue, you want to check them out online, make sure that if you're going to be around there, you stop in and give it a try. John, really appreciate the time tonight to look back the story and the candor, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
All right, you got it. There he is, John Stage. Dinosaur Bar-B-Que joining me on the Fogo Charcoal Hotline. Man, oh man, 30 plus years. I mean, you are doing at least one thing right? If you're doing it for 30 years, 31 years. Got involved with the hedge the hedge fund or the investors, became an advisor, then bought it back about 6 or 7 months ago, and he's starting to retool, bring it back to Syracuse, as he said. Here's the statement of the interview. Barbecue is a judgment. That's going to be a t-shirt. Barbecue is a judgment. For as long as I've done this show, I've never had anybody utter that sentence before, and it's totally correct. You come to my house, I make you barbecue. You might not like it, but maybe I cook it right for me. My judgment is, it's right. Your judgment is, that's crap. Barbecue is a judgment. So how do you teach that? I don't know. That's a tough one. Great line from John Stage. Great interview from John Stage, a legend in the industry. Multiple locations. New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, just to name a few. All right, we are back with Emily Park from the American Royal Association. Stick around, be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. No, sorry. The Smoke Sheet. That's right. Weekly newsletter that keeps you in the know on everything happening in the world of barbecue, including top news, events, recipes, and more. Started by Ryan Cooper, barbecue tourist, and Sean Ludwig in New York City Barbecue. They both travel around the country to find the best barbecue and then report on it. You can sign up for that newsletter at bbqnewsletter.com. That's bbqnewsletter.com. Great all-in-one resource covering the live fire industry. So check them out. Outrageous. Hey, coming out of the bullpen tonight, friend of the show, a few months ago, she gave me the exclusive on announcing the 3 Barbecue Hall of Fame members of 2019. And in a few weeks, one of the most anticipated barbecue events will take place again, that being the American Royal. There are 2 sides of this event. One is known as the Open, the other is invitation only. But if you're not familiar with the American Royal, there are plenty of other things to do during that week or so in which it takes place. And if you are a team that is on the fence about doing the Royal this year, stay tuned, because Emily is here to entice you with a Barbecue Central Show exclusive offer. So, without any further ado, we race to the Fogo Charcoal Hotline, and welcome back, Emily Park. Hey, Emily.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Absolutely fabulous. I was just talking with John Stage, who is a 30-year barbecue restaurant vet, if you can believe it.
My goodness.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And a rock star at it.
Yeah, 30 years. Wow. A lot of living and learning in that time frame, I would imagine.
Oh, yes. One I would love to talk to and learn from.
No doubt. All right, Emily. So I want to have you on here. We're going to do a little promo of the American Royal. But from a marketing perspective, would you ever consider changing your name, Emily, from Emily Park to Emily Pork? It's got a certain ring to it. Would you agree? No?
Yes.
Yes.
I haven't thought of it, but I do think I need to do it.
Yes, just for marketing promotions, of course.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, yeah, no problem. Officially change it. Yes, I think it's necessary.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about the competition portion here in a second, Emily, but for the folks who maybe aren't familiar with the American Royal or just getting into barbecue or whatever the case may be, this is a way bigger deal than just a barbecue event over 2 days, right?
Yeah, I would say so. It's kind of the mecca of barbecue is the way we really like to explain it. So you've got barbecuers from all over the world, really, who come together. So you've got contests, you've got public events. We try to bring it all together for a fun barbecue weekend.
So aside from the barbecue stuff, what else is there for folks to do? And how long does it run officially from start to finish?
Well, start to finish for us takes about a month, but that's besides that. No. So start to finish, yeah. So publicly, the teams, backtrack here. The teams come down basically on Wednesday. They load in and they camp and cook from Wednesday to Sunday. Then from a public side, you can come down on Friday night and Saturday night and really have two awesome, however, quite different experiences. So Friday night has become the biggest party in Kansas City. I like to say the biggest party in the Midwest. It is large. It is fun. It is the best place to find barbecue anywhere around. So what ends up happening is almost all of these teams, so about 500 teams, each host a party. So if you come down to the American Royal on Friday, there are 500 parties going on. It sounds crazy. It's happening. It's nuts. I think there might be anywhere from 100 to 200 bands playing at one time.
Wow.
And there's a lot of people who party hop. A lot of folks have private parties. A lot of folks have public parties. And it is a night of fun and barbecue. It's a really fun night, too, for the teams to kind of test the waters on what they're cooking. They might be trying out some stuff that they're going to turn in on Sunday or doing something that we don't turn in the contest. So you'll see barbecued alligator and things like that. That's a little different, but really fun. So they'll really have a lot of fun doing that. So Friday night big party, come on down. Even if you don't have a party to go to, the American Royal has a lot of things that we put up so you have something to do. So we have a main stage. We have local entertainment on that. We have a marketplace area you can come find. Kansas City goods, barbecue vendors, kind of the whole 9 yards in there. And then we also have a handful of public bars, from a Jim Beam whiskey bar to a beer garden from Budweiser, kind of you name it. It's a fun place to stop. But then change course on Saturday. So Saturday, we want the day to be available to everyone in the family. Maybe not just the partiers, but everybody else. So on Saturday, we're bringing in a car show. It'll be about 125 to 150 cars from the Kansas City Auto Museum. We have the whole day as a salute to service. And so we would be doing activation around the military and everything that they do for us all day long. We are actually going to be feeding the first 5,000 guests who come to our gates on Saturday. So this is our 40th year. We wanted to celebrate. So anybody who comes down on Saturday, comes in the gate, first 5,000 gets to eat barbecue lunch on us. So we have a lot of partners involved in order to make this happen. Great local stuff so that you can get a little taste of Kansas City barbecue. And then we will have bands and demos on the main stage. So we've got a lot of demos that are going to be happening. So if you're a barbecue enthusiast and you just want to come down and learn about a new equipment, maybe your favorite grill provider's doing, they're probably going to have it here. Learn about how to do the best sides from research. They're going to do it on the stage and things like that. And then we have a whole area designated to kids that we call Cowtown Family Fun Fest. So while the parents might be roaming around, we've got an area for kids to enjoy the barbecue too. And it's right next to our Kids Queue, which is the world's largest youth barbecue contest with 75 contestants.
75.
So
Wow.
we have a lot happening on Saturday. So because all of that's happening from the public side, but the really cool thing is while all that's happening, the invitational contest is happening.
Right.
So you get to be part of it. You're in the barbecue when this is all happening.
Emily Park joining me here on the show, manager of the World Series of Barbecue. The website is, is it barbecue, AmericanRoyal.com?
AmericanRoyal.com
All right.
or AmericanRoyal.com/barbecue. You can get there either way.
All right. Do you spell out barbecue or is it BBQ?
BBQ.
All right.
However, when we spell it with a C. I know everyone's different.
I think the only right way for me is BARBECUE. I don't know why anybody
There
would
you
spell
go.
it any different.
I think I've seen it every way now, which is kind of cool and creative.
Yeah. All right, Emily. So do you know, would you call the American Royal a vacation destination? Like, do you know folks or do you run into people that say, hey, we decided to come to Kansas City for 3 or 4 or 5 days specifically for this whole ranging event?
Yeah, we definitely see that. What's kind of cool is if you do that, and I would offer this to anyone listening, come down and do more than just the 2 days of barbecue, but come down on Sunday and get your seat in the open judging and really get to be part of it. So you can come down and experience all assets of the barbecue. You can party on Friday, do the family stuff on Saturday, and see the contest happening, then come back and judge the open contest on Sunday, eat some proteins for about 5 hours, really be part of it. And then you get to see almost every aspect. So that's really cool. We see that a lot. The biggest thing we see is the teams. It's a family reunion every year. That's what it is. You've got teams coming down from all over the world, teams who've been here 35 plus years, and we build them the same neighborhood every year, and the same folks come by their space every year, and that's what you see coming back year to year. So we want to open that invite to everyone.
Emily, from a 2019 perspective, as we kind of move and focus a little bit more on the competition side, is there anything new either from the invitational or the open side that we need to know about?
Nothing new. We're sticking to the classics here. So the biggest thing that we've added in the last couple of years is, in addition to our main proteins, we added a turkey smoke with National Turkey Federation, and we're in our third year of that. It's going really fun, growing really well.
How many teams are you currently expecting for the Open? Are you expecting around that 500 number, or is it going to be perhaps more? Or?
Well, I would love over 1,000. So anyone listening that wants to come on down. But I don't think so this year. Yeah, we'll be around 500. Looking at where we were today, the 500 teams currently consist of about 38 states, and we are up to 19 international teams from 10 different countries.
Wow, wait.
So all over, which is great.
Has there been a year where there were 1,000 teams?
Wouldn't that be nice? Not yet, but it will happen.
I remember, like, what is it, maybe 10 years ago when it was, when the Royal was back in, was it the Stockyards? That there was, like, the dark side, where there was maybe 700 and some odd teams. Was that an accurate number at one point?
You know, it seems a little high, but we'll take it.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's huge.
I think our top number of teams we've ever been at is 618.
Wow.
Still, remaining the biggest. And that's what's kind of cool is because there's so many teams that you get to see all the different types of barbecue. Everybody's got their spin on it, and everybody brings their own flavor.
All right, so if you are a team that is listening to this show, either you just happen to stumble over it now, or you're a fan of the podcast, you're going to get it tomorrow or Thursday, whenever you listen, and you're on the fence. Maybe there's another competition. Maybe you're a couple hours away. Maybe you're local and you're wondering if you should do it or not. Is there anything that we can do tonight to entice teams to add their number to the overall tally list?
Absolutely. So I want to just kind of open the doors to this. Some of the things that we hear on the American Royal side is that you have to be invited to come, and that's only to be part of the invite.
Right.
So invitational contest. And I want to tell everyone, this is an open contest. You can come in first year, take it all. You could. You know, it might be 500 teams, and that might sound scary. However, it is also one of the best learning experiences around. And it's really quite a really impactful weekend to your world of barbecue. The number of teams who are out there and also the value of what they can provide to you is wonderful, with their expertise and their training and everyone's friends out there. So all of that being said, I always want to say, everyone come, give it a shot. You'll have a wonderful time. I can promise you that. And then my enticingness on the other side, we're a month out. So the barbecue kicks off in 1 month. Teams start loading in a month from tomorrow.
Wow.
And I don't want anyone to be weary that we would say, no, it's too late. It's not too late. Now, we do have, unfortunately, on our registration, we have a late fee. But anybody who would register and is listening now, and I'm going to throw out a code to you, we will waive the late fee, and then we will personally come over and thank you for coming and like to offer your first case of beer on the American Royal. Just to be there, have a good time. We'll come over, say hello, and then our team will be able to make sure that you have the best experience ever.
Nice.
One of the things we do at the American Royal that not everybody gets to do is each team has a team ambassador that is there to make sure you have all the answers, having the best time while you're around.
All right, let's get the code.
BBQ Central.
BBQ
Easy enough, right?
Central. Sounds like a great name for a show. I like it.
So if you're listening and you hear this,
yep,
come on, jump in, be part of it. We would love for you to be there. then also we're going to come by and chat with you and make sure you have the best weekend ever.
All right. We are talking with Emily Park from the American Royal. Again, the website is AmericanRoyal.com/BBQ. Although we agree that BARBECUE is the correct way to spell barbecue. Do you? Let me ask you your opinion on the state of competition barbecue, because you get to see how many teams are coming in, and you've seen how many teams are coming in or not coming in over the last however many years. Do you think that competition barbecue right now is at a plateau of sorts or in a downtrend? And if so, what do you think would be a good way to kind of spark it up a little bit?
I think that we are working on that next generation.
Mm-hmm.
I think Generation 1, who got to be part of the first round of competition barbecue, has set the stage. They've done it. They figured it out. And now we need to get the next generation out here. So what's really great is that everybody has the opportunity to do it now, where I would say, 15 years ago, it might have been a little bit more difficult. But you can literally go anywhere and buy a grill, a pit, kind of anything you want, and teach yourself barbecue and watch online how to barbecue and do that. And I urge that group of people who's listening, who's in your backyard, who all of your neighbors are saying, my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever had. Give competition barbecue a chance. It's fun. It's a sport. Really, that's what it is. It's a sport. It is basically a 3-day tailgate, and you get to show off how good you are at something. That's kind of what it is. And so it's a really fun thing to do. And I think that, yes, it has had a little bit of a downturn of the number of teams who come out to contests, but I think it's coming back. I think we've got the next generation coming, and we just need to invite them and give it a shot.
And use code BBQ Central if you have been sandbagging your decision making. You get the late fee waived, case of beer on the American Royal, and you get to have your own ambassador right there. They'll come over and chat with you, and all you have to do is use code BBQ Central. That's absolutely fantastic. We appreciate you doing that for anybody that might be on the fence, Emily, so we'll see how that works out. In the meantime, if you have any questions, barbecue, AmericanRoyal.com/BBQ. And Emily, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
You got it. There she is, Emily Park. Never hit mute first. Got to remember to hit mute first. Would make that sound. Perfect. Now, are you enticed enough? I mean, I know there was a whole bunch of people that might have been on the fence about the American Royal, and then she not only, late fee being waived, one thing. Did somebody say free beer? Free case of beer? People are like, sign me up, everybody. Sign me up. I know it. Free case of beer, and they'll come over and thank you personally for showing up and make sure that you're being taken care of. All because you listen to this show. That's all you have to call in tomorrow. Say, hey, Emily, this is John Snodgrass with Snodgrass Barbecue. You've inspired me. I'm going to drop code BBQ Central on you. She'll waive the late fee, mark you down for that case of beer when you load in. Come on over, meet you. Whew. Fantastic. And they're giving me exclusives on Hall of Fame names, and now we're waiving late fees, giving away free beer on this show. Come on. Get on board this train. We're going places. I'll tell you that. All right, let me talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills. Some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. 3 different models to choose from: the Jim Bowie, the Daniel Boone, and the Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett is the most portable, and we are weeks away from football starting. That means tailgating. Davy Crockett's going to help you out there. You get wood-fired pellet goodness right there in the back of your truck, van, and SUV. It's got 12-volt power. So if you don't have access to a traditional traditional power outlet, you can use the 12-volt adapter or the 12-volt outlet in your car, and it's powered and ready to rock and roll. You can get a couple pork butts on there as well. Then you got the Daniel Boone midsize. You got the Jim Bowie, which is the Big Daddy. Now, you have the classic line. You also have the prime line. Prime line, a little bit more robust chassis build. You got the peek-in windows on the cooking chamber and on the pellet hopper. Also, 2 internal meat probes. Both of the prime lines also run on that 12-volt technology. So that helps really dial in the speed of the fan. That gives you greater pellet burn efficiency. Basically saving you money, in essence. And again, stronger build. If you want the classic's certainly available. They're all the same size. Just get a little bit more on the feature and benefit side on the prime line. You look at them yourself at a nearest Green Mountain Grill dealer. You can find them at greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. While you're on the website, take a look at all the accessories. They sell pellets and sauces and rubs and other stuff. greenmountaingrills.com, longtime sponsor of the show, and proud to have them. We are back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best Triple X show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
And we're wrapping it up with Smithfield. If you're not signed up to be a Smokin' with Smithfield National Barbecue Championship participant, never fear, registration is free, but you have to be signed up in order to take part in the finals. They're going to be happening in just a few short months. SmokinWithSmithfield.com for all the details. Quick check of the email here before we blast out. We're good there. All right, let's do it. All the way back in the first hour, we had Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. We talked about BBQ Stars. We talked about the state of competition barbecue. We talked about how much it costs, where the next generation is coming from, all the good stuff. Talked about where he's taking me for dinner. Second hour, we talked with John Stage, the founder of Dinosaur Bar-B-Que, celebrating its 31st year. Learned a lot about the history there and what it took to grind it out from one to now multiple restaurants. Close it out with Emily Park. BBQ Central is the code if you want to take part in this year's 2019 American Royal Open. Waive the late fee, get you your case of beer for free, and they will come by personally and say, hey now. That's code BBQ Central. I'll link it up in the show notes so you have it. But make your decision quickly. Quickly running out of time to make that decision for the American Royal. Coming up, they load in a month from tomorrow, she said. So there you go. Big show planned for you next week. Steven Reichlin is in to announce something that has to do with a cruise ship. That's right. You heard me right. The Grill Girl is in, amongst others. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host of Proud US American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
This is Dino Dan from Cypress, California, and you're watching the BBQ Central Show.